I mentioned last week that it is a good idea to think of numbers in terms of fives. Like you want to think about 7 as being 2 more than 5. So I can look at this and see these are 7 beads without having to count individual ones. And so a lot of this is based on the fact that most humans have 5 fingers. And so I think that's actually where our base 10 number system comes from. So I want you to, in general, think about this practice thinking about this when you're thinking about numbers and when you're doing calculations. And this can help you, for example, if I want to do 7 plus 5, then one way I could do this is I can say, well, adding 5 is really adding another group. So where 7 was 2 more than 5, if I add 5, that'll put me 2 more than 10. Or another way to think about this is 7 plus 5. Well, this is 7. And so if I want to add 5, then that 7 is 3 away from 10, which I can think of basically because 5 plus 5 is 10, and 7 is 2 more than 5. So I could say, well, 7 plus 5. 7 is 3 away from 10. I added 3 of the 5, and so I still need to add another 2 more of the 5 here. Now, this might seem very simple and elementary with like small numbers, but if you practice doing this, it will help you to be more fluent so that you can do these calculations with bigger numbers. Now, I have this tool, which is a set of 10 rows of 10 beads. And each of those 10s is split into 5s. And of course, the rows are split into 5s too. So you can very easily see those broken up into bits of 5. And this is actually kind of a useful tool for seeing a lot of things. And I kind of recommend that you maybe have one of these around, especially if you are if you get a little bit uncomfortable with doing some calculations in your head. And you don't necessarily have to buy one. I actually made this one. It took me about an hour, but I had some beads laying around, and this is just a piece of cardboard, and I went and took a ruler and drew straight lines across so that I knew where to cut these. I put little slits on the edges and put a string through some beads, and then put 10 beads on each string, and then just tie the string around. So that's a cheap and, I don't know, kind of fun little crafty way to make a similar thing. And I'll be pulling this out occasionally to show some calculations. And then one other thing is I look for opportunities to use some basic math facts. For example, if you play games, this is a cribbage board. I grew up really enjoying playing cribbage. I mentioned last week there was a video for how to play 99. I love playing 99 with my child, I sometimes pull it out and play it with friends too. Just the regular game with a regular old deck of cards. It's a simple game that it doesn't take much to learn, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of practice adding, and it's something that you could just do while chatting with somebody. But if you have any game boards that have some sort of counting, a lot of times they will actually count by 5s. And so take advantage of that. And so rather than counting the points that you have to add up, try using the structure of the numbers. So here I can see that this peg is at the 7 because it's 2 past the 5 mark. And say I want to add 23. Well, rather than counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I can do is I can say, well, this is at the 2nd mark. So if I go the 2nd mark here, that will be counting 5. And if I go to the 2nd mark counting in this set, it would be counting 10. Here's 15, 20. What was I going to do? 22? I think I was going to do 22. So I was going to go wherever this is, 7, and I add 5, add 10, add 15, add 20, 21, 22. And that way you can see now this is now 30 minus 1, so 39, or sorry, 29. So I'm using the structure of the breaking up by 5s to be able to add and subtract a little bit quicker.